Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be checking out a video titled My First Time on the Reeperbahn Completely Changed How I View Germany. I have an idea of what the Reeperbahn is, and I know this video may come across controversially, in certain areas. I'm not sure it would be very controversial for Germans because you guys know about this very well. However, people may see it differently. From my standpoint, based off my knowledge of the Reeperbahn, to each their own, right? I'm not the guy who likes to tell people what to do or to control it. You have to do this to be that. You have to do this to be that. And if you don't want to be that, then you don't need to do this. It's that simple, in my humble opinion. Y'all can let me know how y'all feel about this situation, but it's coming from the channel James Bray. He's also an American who actually does reaction video, and he also, visits Germany quite often, in my humble opinion, since I've only been to Germany once at the airport, then immediately left to go to Finland. Link for his channel and this original video will be in the description of my video, so please go show some support. If you don't know the channel, please go over there and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video. Without further ado, let's get right into this video.
Okay, so Hamburg, Germany is known for a lot of things, and one of the main things it's known for is its red light district, otherwise known as the Reeperbahn. And I had the pleasure of checking it out, thanks to a lot of you guys who recommended that I check it out in the first place. There's a few things that I saw and experienced on the Reeperbahn that completely changed my outlook on Germany. Part of these opinions and things that change might offend or trigger some people, so full warning before we get into this. Make sure you guys subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming from the Hamburg trip. People are asking me if I went to the Rathaus, if I went to the Speicherstadt, and a few other big places and stuff in Hamburg. Guys, absolutely. I went to all those places, and I have a ton of vlogs coming in the future. So make sure you guys subscribe so you guys are first to see those videos when they drop. So let's start with my first impression of the Reeperbahn when I got there. Now, you guys basically kind of saw that in this last video. I was introduced to the street by a subscriber, and as we were walking down the street, everything was very shocking to me. I mean, you guys know that in American culture, the topic of intercourse or anything that is of a sexual nature, it's very taboo. So it's not something you see all over the place. But in Germany, even outside of the Reeperbahn, you saw a lot of stores and things related to that casually, just everywhere, kind of sprinkled across the city. And I thought that was pretty interesting because that's not something I was used to at all. Now, another interesting thing is as we were walking down the street, I did notice a heightened amount of people that possibly looked like they were partaking in some party activities, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean? So there was that, and the street was a lot dirtier than the other streets and stuff. I think I could imagine why with all of what I just mentioned. There was a police station in the center of the Reeperbahn, like where all the stuff is going down. Now, a lot of you guys are probably like, okay, James, like, okay, it's bars, clubs, what else? Well, I mean, it is the hub of prostitution. So down that entire street, right, are various establishments where you can go in and pay to play, if you know what I mean. Pay to play, all up and down the street.
Hey, shout out to all my gamers out there, because if you're a gamer, that one right there is gonna click with you, because you got free to play, you got pay to win, and pay to play. Oh shit, that was good. Hey, off the rip, I like that one. But yeah, that's crazy. What I'm really surprised about is in his video, I am seeing so many women, and that's actually really surprising to me. I don't know much about what goes on in these places, but seeing a lot of women here actually surprised me.
There's one street in particular that I had a very interesting experience. I'll tell you guys a little bit later. It's called Herbertstraße, and that's actually a street that women and children are not allowed to go on. Very interesting, because people were telling me this. They're like, hey, you should check out that street that women and children are not allowed on at all. Like, they are not allowed at all. They'll get completely kicked out. Only men. You have to be 18 and older to enter this area, and it's these two gigantic walls, right? You have the first wall, and right behind it is a second wall, and you walk through them kind of like a maze, and the second you enter the area, it's insane. So I'll tell you about that in a bit as well. Anyways, when I first got to the Reeperbahn, the first thing we wanted to do was go to the St. Pauli Weihnachtsmarkt. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're gonna be walking up and down the Reeperbahn, looking at everything. There's the St. Pauli Weihnachtsmarkt, Pennymarkt, all the crazy little shop gimmicks and people, and then the Tanzturm, which is what starts off the Reeperbahn, bro. It's gonna be really cool. I've heard a lot about it, and I walk on it during the day, but I haven't really gotten to fully experience it at night yet. So we're gonna go ahead and check that out. That was absolutely incredible. We went there were so many people that were showing out. It's basically more or less a kinky Christmas market, right? So you have Santa Claus dressed up in like a ball and gag and stuff like that. There's a lot of different stands that sell various things, various items, from stands that sell eggplant shaped candles, if you know what I mean, to other stands that showed squishable eggplants and also the squishables. Anyways, it was crazy. I'm like, bro, what is this? There was a stage where they had a live performance and stuff, another stand where they had a lot of food, and I got to try one of the most delicious things I've ever eaten in my entire life.
Yeah, so I actually have like a steak brötchen here, bro. First time. Normally they have like Leibkuchen, or like what's it, Leberkäse brötchen or whatever, but it's a steak brötchen. I've never seen this before. Sauteed onions, steak, and a brötchen, bro. It's really fucking good. God damn, look at this shit. Enjoy the bread. Bro. This is God.
I mean, it does look good.
This is what I think of when I think of steak burgers or steak sandwiches. It's this shit right here, bro. Only on the Reeperbahn.
Synttärijuhliin. Niiden järjestäjälle.
Only in the Weihnachtsmarkt. Only in St. Pauli. Well. The St. Pauli Weihnachtsmarkt was super fucking cool. There's so much to see, bro, and so much like really kinky stuff, dude. Dick-shaped candles and boob stress balls and stuff, and you know, sex ornaments and a lot of delicious food. I actually had a steak burger that was, oh dude, it's basically a steak sandwich. They put an actual piece of steak in a sandwich with sauteed onions. So fucking good, bro. So we're about to go down the rest of the Reeperbahn and check this shit out. Like I said, I told you guys, man, I'm here, I'm gonna deliver. I love it out here so far. It's super dope. Everybody's drunk as fuck off of Glühwein or some other shit. And a lot of you guys have been recognizing me down here and stuff like that. So shout out to everybody that said hi to me and everything. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for welcoming me in your city. I appreciate you guys. We're about to go and check out the rest of the Reeperbahn and see what the hell we can get into. That's actually pretty nice. It's a nice little spot where people like to film and take pictures and stuff of themselves underneath this beautiful, very well decorated Christmassy area. In fact, there's a Christmas tree on the right hand side, a little like light fixture on the top that says St. Pauli, which is really cool. Super sick. I love it, man. I'm hyped. We're in a party mood. Let's go, party people.
So as I walked up and down the Reeperbahn, I was making Instagram posts telling everybody I was on the Keats doing my thing.
What house? A what house?
And people are like, yo, be careful about filming because it is very dangerous over there. People might try to poke you up a little bit. And I was like, really? And I got a lot of messages about that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I was very careful, obviously, right? I'm like, okay, cool. But gradually, people kept telling me it was very dangerous. And I was like, can the Reeperbahn be that dangerous, bro? I did hear specifically about Herbertstrasse, right? And you go behind the wall and you film at all, bro, well, let's just say you gonna get lit up. All right, now, initially, when I think of Germany, right, I think of a very conservative, very lockdown culture, play by the rules kind of thing. It didn't feel like that when I was on the Reeperbahn. The Reeperbahn felt like...
I mean, that's the thing. Germany is a play by the rules type of place. But that's a part of the rules. You know what I mean? That's not illegal, so it's a part of the rules, right? Because rules is really to keep shit in regulation, right? To keep shit on a straight road so that shit don't get messed up. And that's part of the rules, legalizing, you know what, because having it illegal can be 10 times worse. Just like when Germany recently legalized smoking of, you know what, having it hidden can be 10 times worse. Unnecessary prison time, whatever. A lot of shit can go chaotic when certain things are actually illegal. So, Germany's doing what they got to do. So y'all can let me know if it's working or not, because I don't know.
Like a rift in the entire culture, a portal, you know? You hop through this portal and it was wild, bro. Absolutely wild. I got to go to the Ritze and, you know, it's where Jesus hangs out.
This is a famous spot in Hamburg. It's a famous bar. Everybody was here, like Tyson, Muhammad Ali, like the Klitschko's. Everybody was boxing here. Tupac don't was here.
And a bunch of the Einzach Sieben crew and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, this is really the Ritza. Like, that's crazy. I was scared to go inside. So I was just like, man, a whole lot of wild stuff. But I didn't understand the level of how free this area was. And it kind of, like I said, changed my entire outlook on Germany as a whole, because I thought for the most part, Germany was pretty conservative about certain things. Of course, not really nudity, but most things to an extent. And then I saw the Reeperbahn. A big question that crossed my mind is, how are people okay with prostitution? Because I will say this, a lot of the people that were going inside those houses, those intercourse houses, were old men. Old men, bro, like in their 50s and up, right? That were going in there and stuff, actually looking for something that looked like. And like I would.
That's crazy. But hey, listen, I mean this with the most respect. The reality is this, right? A lot of young people, we disrespect older people, right? We highly disrespect them, right? And it's quite unfortunate because I've seen it both from men and women. Like older men, they want to be with somebody, older women, they want to be with somebody. And oftentimes the same young people like ourselves, when we hit like 35, 40, and we catch a divorce, we end up in the same shit that they're in, right? So it may look bad that they're doing that and you don't see young dudes doing that, but the reality is the young guys can literally go out there and find a girl in his age group who is not married, who is single. So shit is a lot tougher for older people. So I'm not gonna really scrutinize them, especially if they're not doing some weird shady shit. You know what I mean? Like some, you know what I'm talking about. But if they're doing something that they have freedom of doing, I'm not going to get on their ass because I understand.
See some of these same people at different spots, and I was like, oh my God. Now I know you guys are probably like, what were you doing over there? I wanted to see what everybody was talking about. Like there's this big pink building that says sex house, and I'm like, oh my, they just have it right out there, bro. And it's like 6 stories of just wild stuff, as you could imagine. As far as safety goes, I had this image in my head that Germany was like incredibly safe. You know, obviously not nothing, but the likelihood of anything crazy happening would be slim. Until I went to the Reeperbahn and I got a bunch of messages from a lot of you guys saying, hey, be careful. It can get very dangerous at night when everybody's drinking and, you know, there's a lot of wild activities taking place. And I'm like, really? Over here? What? Really? So I was like, okay, well, obviously Germany is a very safe country in comparison to America, but it definitely has its moments. You know what I'm saying? It has its moments. And you guys know me, I'm from Chicago, so it takes a lot for me to feel uncomfortable. I wasn't even uncomfortable. I was just kind of on alert for the first time because I was like, oh, something can happen here? Okay, well, shit. Like, let me just keep my guard up a little bit, I guess. I had an interesting comment in my YouTube comments that I read recently.
I'm from Hamburg, and while I like to see how much you enjoy the city, this video also makes me sad. Just one day after this video was published, I read the news that the Molotov, one of Hamburg's most important subculture music clubs, will be terminated next summer because at its place at the Reeperbahn, there will be a new luxury hotel that'll be built. Last summer, the ferry you took was also so overloaded, people who actually had to go to work with it were left behind. Hamburg is suffering badly from the over-tourism and the subculture even more. I don't say don't come to Hamburg for a visit, but always have in mind what tourism does to the city you visit. Elbphilharmonie or musicals aren't Hamburg, but the small clubs are. Don't be a Jack Wolfskin wearing German tourist and come to Hamburg only to visit the tourist places, but go to the small clubs and help the subculture out here survive.
And I respect that because actually one of the things that I did, I went live on my Instagram and I actually said, hey, if anybody wants to hang out, me and my friends are on the Reeperbahn. If you guys want to hang out with us, just come meet us up there. We'll party it up. So actually a lot of you guys took me to some really cool like underground bars. They were just like really chill bars. There was this one bar I went to, they had like a foosball table in there. I'm not sure if you guys call it a foosball table. We call it a foosball table, but I don't know what you guys call it. They had a foosball table, we were drinking, and then went to a different bar and it was really chill, went to a club, and it was like, everybody was like super dope, very open, very free, very kind and stuff like that. I loved it. It was a very good time. And it wasn't any of the main poppin' club that everybody was funneling into, because to be fair, they were very crowded. There was a line trailing outside of the buildings. I was like, oh my God. But it was very interesting for me because everything is better at night there. Everything's better at night. I mean, it looked incredible. There were so many people out. I had a great time. Now, this is the story that you're probably waiting on, and it's what is behind the wall. So a friend and I decided, my friend's already been behind the wall before, and he's like, hey, but he went with his friends and stuff because he didn't know what was behind there. So he wanted to show me what was behind the wall. He's like, hey, listen, like you have to go up and down the street at least just one time on Herbertstrasse. So we go there, we enter the wall, and I'm telling you, dude, the Reeperbahn is loud. It's super loud. There's tons of people. Everyone's partying, drinking. Some people get very belligerent past a certain time because everybody by that point is already really drunk, and it's overwhelming. But the second you step through those walls, it's quiet. It's quiet, bro. It's not like you're entering a building, you're entering a street, and it's quiet. I was more shocked with how the setup was, because when you walked by, it was like each girl was in the window sitting on like a high chair. You know those chairs that people sit in to get their hair cut at a barber shop? They were sitting in like one of those. And basically it was like watching like a bunch of OnlyFans models sitting in these big glass like boxes doing their hair or on their phones and kind of just waiting for people to come up and talk to them. And now if they saw somebody that caught their eye, they would open up a window and they would yell at them and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. There is this one section of the street that has like this, I think it's like a bar or something. I think it's either, I think it has to be a bar.
I ain't gonna lie though, it looks good. I ain't gonna lie, the inside of there looks good with the lights and everything. Man, I wish I could have did that, because like, whoo, I'm not lying. It looked good with the lights. Should I let the rest of the video play out with this blue light? Damn. But the lights there, it actually really looks good. I ain't gonna hold you, it looks really nice.
That's what I was told. It's like a bar. And I think people go in there. I didn't go in there at all, but people go in there and stuff. They talk to some of the people that were in the windows, and then I guess they start talking pricing and all this other stuff. And then once they come to an agreement, they do their thing. One trick I heard is when you go to the bar, they'll talk to maybe one of the bartenders or whoever's serving you drinks, and they give you drinks, and they're free drinks until you refuse to make an agreement with one of the women and sleep with them and stuff like that. And apparently they charge you a ridiculous price for the free drinks that you were given, because they make it seem like the drinks are free, and they're like, oh, that'll be 300 euro bitte, some crazy price. And if you refuse to pay, well, you better have a way to make it out of that thing alive, because good googly moogly. I was absolutely shocked with how quiet it was and the intensity that area brought, because it was like stepping through an entirely different world. When I walked through those walls, and it was everybody observing everybody, you could tell which women that were there had work done a little bit and whatnot, because I mean that's their profession and stuff. Some women in there looked nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Some looked like, you know, hey, just another day at the office and stuff like that, you know. And it was just crazy. I turn around, we walk back, and on the way out, one of the women in the glass like shouts out, she's like, oh, I think I know you, and like she points to my headband, and I was like, oh, we need to get out of here, and I peaced out. So it was a wild experience, dude.
I'm happy I ain't got no SIG on me, man. I ain't got no signature. That's what I mean by SIG. That is crazy.
Dude, wild experience. Like, and I guess I have a few questions. My first question is, how do you guys feel about the purchasing of intercourse in Germany? That's the most monetizable way I can say that. How do you?
And you know, in reality, like, I know a lot of people may hate on prostitution, but prostitution is so widespread, like, and it's quite unfortunate, you know, because it's a touchy topic that is filled with a lot of hypocrisy. And this is where I'll break it down. So you're paying for intercourse, right? Okay. However, there are so many guys who are, you know, watching girls, but not interacting with them like physically, but they're interacting with them over the internet. They're paying for that. And you got guys paying for OnlyFans. You got guys paying for feet pics, this pic, that pic. I'm not hating, but I'd have 10,000 more respect for a guy who would actually pay for intercourse, because a lot of these dudes out here paying for feet pic and all of this, right? And that, in my humble opinion, that is 10 times worse than paying for intercourse. That's just how I feel. I'm just saying, right? But at the end of the day, most people, when they talk about prostitution, they only speak about intercourse. They don't talk about the other types of, you know, interactions that you can have. And in my humble opinion, those type of interactions are 10 times more ridiculous than the other ones. But I don't know. That's my take. What do you guys think about it? Because I mean, you guys are the ones who actually have it legalized in your country, right? I don't know about other countries that have it legalized, but at the end of the day, it's, you know, humanity is just humanity. And, you know, whether it's legalized or not, it's gonna happen. It's that simple. And I'm not being the dickhead, but I just referenced a lot of guys who, you know, pay for intercourse, but not a physical intercourse. But there's also forms of intercourse like this, where guy might take a girl out on a date, might buy her this, might buy her that. You are paying. I don't give a damn. That's a transaction. You give, I receive. I give, you receive. Whatever. I might sound confused right there, but it's the same transaction, right? So, like I said, I'll have way more respect for a guy who would actually be on the Reeperbahn paying for intercourse rather than some guy paying for OnlyFans, because all these rich people and all these other people, most guys pay for intercourse. You're doing something in order for that woman to do something for you. So I don't give a rat's ass. If it's a discussion, we gonna discuss it. But at the end of the day, it's a discussion that needs to be discussed entirely as an open book and not as a selective section of the book, because most people, like I said, will just discuss the things like the Reeperbahn. But you have so many forms of prostitution, in my humble opinion, and you have other ways that are not even identified as prostitution, but it's the same damn thing, in my humble opinion. But yeah, to each their own. That's what I'll always say. Do whatever makes you feel better, I guess. But I'm not gonna hate on nobody, because I ain't perfect. I might not be going to a Reeperbahn, but I ain't perfect. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna hate on nobody. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. And yeah, go check out the original video. Thank you for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.